How Putin's sons from the former gymnastics champion Alina Kabaeva are named and the conditions in which they live. Russian scientists from the Kremlin were tasked to develop an anti-aging remedy. The world order is under threat, said the heads of the CIA and MI6. I'm Maria Drutska, and you can like this video and subscribe to my channel right now because you will find this interesting. For many years, Kremlin dictator Vladimir Putin has kept the lives of his daughters Katerina Tikhonova and Maria Vorontsova as a strict secret. However, it turns out that Putin has another secret he carefully guards: two minor sons from the gymnast Alina Kabaeva. Journalists from the Dossier Center conducted an investigation and revealed where and under what conditions the most secretive children of Russia, or maybe even the world, live. According to investigators, Putin's elder son, Ivan, was born in 2015 and Vladimir in 2019. The first child was born in a Swiss clinic in Lugano and the second in Russia, but under the supervision of the same Swiss doctor who managed Kabaeva's first pregnancy. The Dossier Center assures that the source from which they learned about the lives of Putin's son is verified and works in his residence. The boys spent part of their childhood with Alina Kabaeva at a secured villa in Switzerland. In 2022, after the full-scale invasion of Russians in Ukraine, Alina Kabaeva and her children returned to Russia and occasionally appear in public. Officially, these children have never been called Putin's sons. According to investigators, Ivan and Vladimir, the younger one, live in a residence on Valdai. They do not attend schools and kindergartens. They are constantly accompanied by governesses, nannies, and trainers. They only travel on yachts, planes, and armored trains belonging to Putin. Security officers from the Presidential Security Service always accompany the children, and their daily needs are met by companies owned by the leader of Russia's friends. Putin's children cannot be found in state databases, as from childhood they have cover documents like those made for intelligence agents and people under state protection, and only their closest relatives know their real birth dates. In the Valdai residence, Putin's children live in the main house along with their parents, while governesses and trainers, coaches live in separate buildings. Other buildings nearby are dedicated to their education. Separate cars with drivers are assigned to the boys. Teachers and servants move in other cars. Some employees are prohibited from walking around the residence territory. All movements are allowed only by transport. The teaching staff does not communicate directly with the children's parents but receives orders from the family's assistants. The governesses receive messages from Olesya Fedina, who pose as the mother of Ivan and Vladimir, but in reality she is Kabaeva's cousin. Teachers from Putin's heirs are found through the English Nanny Agency website, as can be found in the open access, although, of course, the names of those you will work with are not mentioned. Several teachers of English and German languages always work with the children. After the invasion in Ukraine, employers began to prefer English teachers from South Africa, which the Russian government considers a friendly country. In addition to South African citizens, contracts were also signed with people of Britain and citizens of New Zealand. According to the employer's terms, educators are not allowed to leave residence territory at all. The announcement states that the family lives in isolation. educators are offered a salary of $7,700 per euros per month. Sorry. So Putin likes to play hockey with Vladimir. For this purpose, a hockey ring was built on Valdai. Training sessions take place even without Putin. Then someone from the staff is taken into team. But if a game involving the president of Russia is planned, then only the father, Ivan, and state security officers are on the ice. So, conclusion, guys. I think the ordinary media journal or media company would hardly be able to dig up so many details. After all, the material is really huge. Those who want to watch it can be found on YouTube. I only told a part of what was written in investigation, so it seems to me that Western intelligence service probably had a hand in this information. And what do you think about this and why? Could it be that likely it was a signal to Putin that, we know your secrets and we know who your children are, where they are, what they look like? Could it be that maybe this was a sign that Putin, for example, should not even think about using the nuclear weapons that Western countries are so afraid of? And you know that it is a common practice to threaten us Ukrainians first, but also Poland, Great Britain, and other NATO countries with nuclear weapons. Write me in the comments, what do you think about this? Well, before I continue, I want to thank all of you who sent coffees on Buy Me a Coffee and become patrons to this channel. Please do so if you want more videos on the channel, and you can also help this channel by subscribing to it and like this video, as it will definitely help Ukrainian content to be seen by more people. I suggest you also subscribe to my X Twitter page, where I post regular updates about the situation in Ukraine, and to my Instagram, where I show the daily life in Ukraine. Interestingly, Putin, like all dictators, want to live forever. God forbid. And now, the Russian Ministry of Health has demanded that Scientific Research Institute urgently report on their work in combating aging. Russian scientists from the Kremlin have been tasked to develop anti-aging agent. The Time reports noting that Vladimir Putin will turn 72 in October, and most senior Russian officials are around the same age as well, while the average life expectancy for men in Russia is 67 years. It's reported that the Ministry of Health has demanded from the Research Institute to urgently report on their work addressing cognitive and sensory disorders, cellular aging, and osteoporosis, as well as strengthening the immune systems. The urgency of the research in the field of aging is associated with the involvement of Mikhail Kovalchuk, one of Putin's close friends. The 77-year-old Kovalchuk has the Kurchatov Nuclear Research Center and is one of the leading members of the Russian Academy of Science. He is also involved in a state-funded genetic research program, which includes Putin's older daughter and endocrinologist Maria Vorontsova. A staff member of the National Medical Research Center also suggested that Kovalchuk or Putin are involved in promoting life extension research. Kovalchuk is obsessed with eternal life, and he ran to the president with this idea, said a source in the Kremlin. Despite high-quality medical care, Putin reportedly regularly takes baths with an extract from the blood derived from the antlers of Siberian deer. Those who take such baths believe that this extract has rejuvenating properties and can work wonders for male potency. Such a wonderful news. The global order is under a threat that humanity has not seen since the Cold War, declared the head of Britain's MI6, Richard Moore, and his colleague, the CIA Director William Burns. According to both intelligence chiefs, London and Washington are actively cooperating to counter the aggressive pressure of Russia and Putin's war of aggression in Ukraine, end quote. Their joint article on this topic was published in the Financial Times. They signed the article together. This has never been published before. BBC wrote an article about it, and I will now tell you what the main points were. So the heads of MI6 and the CIA write that they had anticipated the Russian invasion of Ukraine well in advance. According to them, they were able to warn the international community to help Kiev by revealing certain secret information. There is no doubt that the international world order, a balanced system that has brought the planet relative peace and stability, simultaneously boosting living standards, opening new opportunities, and laying the foundation for prosperity, is now under threat, greater than at any time since the Cold War. The authors are confident. At the heart of the special relationship between Great Britain and the US, in their view, lies successful combat against this threat. One of such unprecedented combinations of threat facing both countries is the war in Ukraine, now in its third year following Russia's invasion in February 2022. Burns called the recent capture of Russian territory in the Kursk region by Ukrainian forces a significant tactical victory, but added that he sees no evidence that this has weakened the power of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Calls from Ukraine to the West to supply Kiev with more weapons and lift restrictions on their use on Russian territory are often explained by fears of possible Moscow's reaction. However, both intelligence chiefs agree that this should not deter support for Ukraine. Burns recounted that at the end of 2022 there was a moment, by the way, when, according to him, there was a real risk that Russia would use tactical nuclear weapons in Ukraine in response to a series of failures on the battlefield. According to Burns, the use of nuclear weapons could have occurred in the fall of 2022, at the time of the Ukrainian counteroffensive in the Kharkiv and Kherson regions. The official stated that the US president sent him to Turkey for a meeting with the head of the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, Sergei Naryshkin. There, he was to convey to his Russian colleague the consequences of such escalation. However, I never believed, and this is the view of my entire agency, that we need to feel unnecessary fear about this, continued the CIA director. Putin is prone to act with threats. From time to time, he will continue to rattle the saber in front of us. Well, that's it for today, guys. I want to thank all of you for supporting Ukraine, watching Ukrainian content. Please like this video, and if you really liked it and you want more videos and support this channel, you can support the channel's development on Patreon or buy me a coffee. See you soon, and Slava Ukraini!